The £20,000 ISA allowance, how to actually max it out. £20,000. That's how much money you're allowed to shelter from the taxman every single year, completely legally, and most people don't use even a fraction of it. In fact, the average ISA contribution in the UK is just over £4,000. So today, I'm going to show you exactly how to actually max out your ISA allowance, even if you're not earning a massive salary. Right, let's start with the basics, and I promise I'll keep this quick because I know some of you already know this bit. Every tax year, which runs from the 6th of April to the 5th of April the following year, every UK adult gets a £20,000 ISA allowance. That means you can put up to £20,000 into ISAs, and any interest, dividends, or growth you earn inside that wrapper is completely tax-free. No income tax. No capital gains tax. Nothing. You don't even need to declare it on your tax return. And here's the thing people forget, this resets every single year. So if you don't use it, you lose it. There's no rolling it over. The 5th of April hits, your unused allowance vanishes, and you start fresh. That's why people in the finance world talk about use it or lose it season every March. It's real. It matters. Now, £20,000 a year might sound like a lot. And honestly, for most people, it is a lot. If you're sitting there thinking I can barely save £200 a month, never mind £20,000 a year, then firstly, you're completely normal. And secondly, this video is especially for you. Because maxing out your ISA isn't about being wealthy. It's about being strategic. So let's talk about the different types of ISA you can split that £20,000 across. Because yes, you can split it. You've got 4 main types. First, the cash ISA, think of it like a savings account, but tax-free. Second, the stocks and shares ISA, this is where you invest in funds, shares, bonds, that sort of thing, all inside a tax-free wrapper. Third, the innovative finance ISA, which is for peer-to-peer lending. Honestly, most people can ignore this one. And fourth, the lifetime ISA, or LISA, which gives you a 25% government bonus on up to £4,000 a year, but it's only for buying your first home or for retirement after age 60. Now here's the important rule. You can split your £20,000 across these different types however you like, but the total can't exceed £20,000 in any single tax year. So you could put £12,000 in a stocks and shares ISA, £4,000 in a LISA, and £4,000 in a cash ISA. That's fine. But you can't do £20,000 in one and then another 10 in another. The overall cap is £20,000, full stop. Right. So how do you actually fill this thing up? Let's get practical. Strategy number 1, and this is the big one, automate it monthly. 20,000 divided by 12 is £1,666.67. So roughly £1,667 a month. Now, I know. For a lot of people, that's more than their rent. So let's work backwards instead. If you can put away £500 a month, that's £6,000 a year. £300 a month gets you to £3,600. Even £100 a month, that's £1,200 into an ISA by the end of the tax year. That's still better than what most people manage. The key is setting up a direct debit so it leaves your account on payday, before you even see it. You can't spend what you don't see. That's not just a saying, it's genuinely how behavior works. And if you're putting it into a stocks and shares ISA, which, if you've got a time horizon of 5 years or more, you probably should be, then regular monthly investing also gives you something called pound cost averaging. Basically, when the market dips, your money buys more units. When it rises, your existing units are worth more. Over time, this smooths out the bumps. You're not trying to time the market. You're just consistently showing up. And historically, that works. Strategy number 2, use windfalls wisely. Tax refund? Bonus at work? Birthday money from your nan? An inheritance? Money from selling something on eBay or Facebook Marketplace? Before you spend it, ask yourself one question: have I used my ISA allowance this year? If the answer is no, even putting a portion of that windfall into your ISA can make a massive difference over time. I'll give you a quick example. Let's say you get a £2,000 bonus after tax. You stick it in a stocks and shares ISA, it grows at an average of, say, 7% a year. In 20 years, that single £2,000 contribution is worth nearly £8,000. And because it's in an ISA, every penny of that growth is yours. Not a penny to HMRC. Now imagine doing that every year. Strategy number 3, and this one's a bit more advanced, use your ISA as your primary savings vehicle, not your bank account. A lot of people have this habit of letting cash pile up in a normal current account or a standard savings account. And look, you should absolutely have an emergency fund in an easy access account. 3 to 6 months expenses is the usual advice. But beyond that? Why would you keep money in a taxable account when you could keep it in a cash ISA earning similar rates, completely tax-free? Now, I know what some of you are thinking. But I get a personal savings allowance. The first £1,000 of interest is tax-free anyway if I'm a basic rate taxpayer. And that's true. But here's the thing. Interest rates have come up a lot recently. If you've got a decent chunk of savings, you might be surprised how quickly you blow through that £1,000 allowance. Higher rate taxpayers only get £500. And additional rate taxpayers? They get nothing. Zero. So the more you earn, and the more you save, the more valuable ISAs become. And even if you're a basic rate taxpayer now, who says you will be in 5 years? Building up your ISA pot now is like future-proofing your finances against higher taxes. It's one of the few genuinely generous things the tax system offers regular people. Use it. Strategy number 4, don't forget the LISA if you're eligible. If you're between 18 and 39, you can open a lifetime ISA and put in up to £4,000 a year. The government tops it up by 25%. That's a free £1,000. Free money. I don't say that lightly. There aren't many places where the government just hands you cash, but this is genuinely one of them. The catch is, you can only use it penalty-free for buying your first home, worth £450,000 or less, or after you turn 60. If you withdraw for any other reason, you'll pay a 25% penalty, which actually means you lose more than the bonus. So this isn't a flexible option. But if you're saving for your first property or you're happy to lock it away for retirement, it's an absolute no-brainer. And remember that for grand counts towards your overall 20,000 ISA limit. Strategy number 5, and this is the mindset shift that ties everything together. Think of your ISA allowance like a use-by date. Every year, you get a fresh £20,000 allowance. And every year, whatever you didn't use just disappears. Now, nobody's going to use all of it every year, life happens. But the people who build real, meaningful, tax-free wealth over time are the ones who treat their ISA allowance with a bit of urgency. They don't wait until March to think about it. They set up contributions in April. They drip money in all year. They chuck in a bit extra whenever they can. If you can max it out, brilliant. If you can do 10 grand, great. If you can do 2 grand, that's still 2 grand growing tax-free for the rest of your life. Because here's something beautiful about ISAs that a lot of people don't realize. There's no lifetime limit on how much you can hold in ISAs. The limit is only on how much you can put in each year. So someone who's been diligently using their ISA allowance for 15 or 20 years could be sitting on a pot of 200, 300 grand, or more, all completely outside the taxman's reach. Now, let me quickly flag a few common mistakes I see people make. Mistake 1, leaving ISA money in cash for decades. Cash ISAs are great for short-term savings and emergency funds. But if you're saving for something 10 or 20 years away, inflation will eat your returns alive. You need to be considering a stocks and shares ISA for long-term growth. Past performance isn't guaranteed, obviously, but over the long term, the stock market has significantly outpaced cash. That's just historical fact. Mistake 2, opening multiple ISAs of the same type in one tax year without checking the rules. Now, the rules changed in April 2024. You can now pay into multiple ISAs of the same type in the same tax year, which is a welcome simplification. But you still can't exceed the overall 20 grand, and you still need to make sure each provider knows what you're doing. Keep it tidy. Mistake 3. Not using your ISA allowance because you think you'll invest later when you have more money. Time in the market beats timing the market. Starting small today is almost always better than waiting to start big tomorrow. £100 a month from age 25 will likely beat £300 a month from age 40. Compound growth is genuinely the closest thing to magic in personal finance. And mistake 4, ignoring ISAs because you think pensions are enough. Pensions are fantastic, especially with employer matching, and you should absolutely contribute to your workplace pension. But pensions are locked away until at least age 55, rising to 57. ISAs give you flexibility. You can access your money whenever you want, no questions asked. The ideal approach for most people is both pension for retirement, ISA for everything else. So, let me bring this all together. You've got a £20,000 annual allowance. You've got cash ISAs, stocks and shares ISAs, and leases at your disposal. The winning formula is simple: start early, automate your contributions, invest for the long term where you can, use windfalls to top up, and treat every tax year like it matters, because it does. You don't need to be rich to max out your ISA. You just need a plan and a bit of discipline. And honestly, even getting halfway there puts you ahead of the vast majority of people in this country. If this video helped you think differently about your ISA, smash that like button. It genuinely helps the channel more than you'd think. Subscribe if you want more straight-talking money content every week. And drop a comment below telling me, how much of your ISA allowance are you planning to use this year? I'd love to know. I'll see you in the next one.